Welcome back to the Wake Up Mission Show.
Well, 2 weeks ago, our next guest organized a protest carrying Confederate flags when Obama visited Oklahoma City. But Andrew Duncomb does not fit the description the progressive controlled media would want you to think. You know, a white racist male. No. Andrew Duncomb is a beautiful black man, and we are honored to have him here today. Andrew, welcome to our show.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I really enjoyed. In fact, I forgot I meant to, but I ran out of time. I'm going to be sending you a friend request on Facebook. I was on your Facebook page today. I absolutely love it. I wanted to let you know that. So be looking
Thank you.
out for my friend request. Andrew, first, because I love your catchy nickname. Tell our listeners what your catchy nickname is.
Andrew Duncomb, or Andrew Black Rebel Duncomb.
Yeah, I love it, the Black Rebel. Absolutely love it.
Something that someone suggested when I started the event, and I stuck with it ever since.
I think you should stick with it. It's catchy, and I think it sends a message, and I think it's a good one. Why did you host this event, Andrew?
I was, again, once the whole flag controversy came up, I was, when I started seeing how they were trying to remove the monuments, deface all these statues and everything, I went and made a post basically stating my view on the Confederate flag, and it went viral. Had over 70,000 likes and 70,000 shares, and I had people messaging me saying, "Hey, can you help? They're ruining everything. They're taking away everything that the flag stands for. They're making it seem like it's racist." And so I went out and to the Oklahoma City Capitol here in Oklahoma City. Went to the Capitol and went out there the first July 4th, I do believe. Yeah, it was on July 4th, and I went up there by myself. It was short time notice when I decided to go ahead and do it, so I was out there by myself, me and one buddy of mine who took the picture that's on my profile pic as well, and stood out there for about an hour and didn't get much action, so I decided to make another event that following Monday. And so the week later, we went and had about 100 people come out for a big rally. And again, when it's my way that I can help do something to help this cause and help in the fight.
I love it. I love it. The cause for freedom. I absolutely love it. And you did have a healthy turnout. I was looking at some of the photos and the videos. Did Obama acknowledge you?
The news media did, so I'm sure he saw all the headliners and everything. It was real quick with his passing, and we honestly did not intend to end up where we were at for his rally, for his caravan into the city. And we found that on accident. We figured all the streets would get blocked off, so we plan on meeting at Bass Pro Shop here inside of the city, and that's where we started the rally at. And I said, "Who wants to go for a walk?" So we just kept on walking and walking. We saw the gates, and we just walked all the way down, and it was like, it actually leads to the hotel, so let's sit here for a while. And that's how that came apart.
I absolutely love it, and I was reading some of the mainstream media on it, and one Obama supporter, allegedly you made her cry, that your protest made her cry. Now, of course, because the progressive media never does this, controlled media, they never tell you why the person was crying, what really upset them so much. But did you have people protesting and shouting at your group that day?
Yeah, we had people telling us to go back to where we came from, hope your teeth rot out. I think one lady even yelled.
Wow.
We had people walking there. I had a guy tell me that if I keep on doing this, I wouldn't live much longer. I wouldn't leave the city alive and stuff.
Are you serious? He said this to you?
Yeah, he said that to me. Multiple threats. We've had people saying, "Get over it, you guys lost." And we pretty much hear the same stuff every time.
That's violent. And, that's really interesting because we always hear, "Oh, you need to be tolerant. You need to be tolerant." But the crowd that always shouts that mantra are the most violent, intolerant. I mean, time and time and time again, we receive and see these reports. So was this man that was threatening you with death? Wow. Was he a white man or a black man, out of curiosity?
He was a black man. Yeah. We have threats from white people as well, but so far majority of my threats have came from other African Americans who think that I'm some Uncle Tom and a traitor and I'm a disgrace to my race.
Yeah, and Randy and I know this. I have a really good friend, Ted Hayes. I have a lot of really good conservative, libertarian black friends, and Randy and I used to go out and rally with them, and we heard them called this name all the time. Time.
It's never ending. I mean, it's funny. From when I started out, the different names changed. It's like they start on one thing and go on to the next. There's pretty much. I've heard them all pretty much.
Andrew, do you know the guy that threatened you? Do you know his name?
Don't know. I've never seen him before in my life. So he's just looked like he was in his 40s, maybe.
I would suggest that if somehow you found that out, to file a police report, because that is considered a terrorist threat, and you can have that person locked up by law for doing that.
Yeah, we do need to start recording a lot of the stuff that we do, and just for our safety and for a backup as well when stuff like that goes down.
Invest in some Kevlar, my friend.
And that's what a lot of people have been saying.
Yeah, well, and so I mean, tell me, what is your view on the Confederate flag, and is it a symbol of racism?
To me, again, it's a symbol of Southern pride. Again, people down here, they have Southern roots that go way back. It's a symbol of freedom from oppression of the government. It's a symbol of standing against the control of the unconstitutional control of the government. It goes far beyond what people who don't understand what it means think. It's nothing to do with slavery these days.
I love what you just said. Freedom of oppression from the government, and indeed, we were schooled here. I think it was by Michael C. Spool, which is really his name. I believe so, Randy. And we have learned a lot about the Confederate flag ourselves. Randy, like he was from the South, and he says the same thing. It's Southern pride, but you're right. That is actually what the flag's original meaning stood for. It was stood for liberty and freedom, and not the tyranny of a federalized government. So shouldn't the black community embrace the Confederate flag because it would believe they'd want freedom of oppression? What are your thoughts, your answer to that?
Ask the question one more time. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, don't be sorry. Because the Confederate flag, and you're correct about it, it is a symbol of freedom from oppression. So shouldn't the black community embrace that symbol? Because otherwise, then are they saying they want to be oppressed? Shouldn't they embrace this flag?
They should embrace, but the problem with that is they're so stuck on the idea that all it stands for is a bunch of racist bigots due to the people who do misrepresent the flag that they can't overlook, and that's what we're trying to show them, that no, this is not what we are about. There are people out there who do misrepresent this flag, who do use it as a racist symbol. But that's not majority of the people out here. People are getting shot over and killed over flying the flag, who aren't hateful, who aren't violent, who believe that this flag is about oppression or freedom from oppression of the government. But yet the news media went and twisted the whole thing around and made the flag out to be this horrible thing when it's not. And when people feed off of that negative energy from the news media, and the flag was the scapegoat, basically.
Yeah,
Andrew, I love your answers. Yeah, Randy, go ahead. But I got real quick, Randy, because I want to ask this question, and then go, Randy.
Okay.
Andrew, where did the roots of this racism propaganda start with? Do you know? Because I know I don't.
I believe when it started back, or do you mean when the whole controversy started just recently?
No, not the recent. Like, where did the idea that the Confederate flag was racist? Where did that start from?
I think that started when the KKK members started using it, and people started seeing pictures with the KKK using they use the American flag just as well. So why the Confederate flag got picked out of that whole thing and capitalized, I don't know. But again, yeah. But I think that's what seeded the idea into people's minds originally.
That's really interesting, because if you look at the history of the two flags, and Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Michael said this, the American flag as it stands today is a flag of corporate America, whereas the Confederate flag was the flag that represented a de jure form of government. Isn't that correct, Randy?
I believe so. It was admiralty law and constitutional law. We're still learning this, because we've only had 2 classes. He's on tomorrow, and I believe that's what he said. Now, the actual, the stars and bars, I think it was a battle flag of the Army of Northern Virginia. The actual Confederate flag was, some version of that, but that's the one that was, adopted, over time, and, T-shirts, the General Lee, coffee mugs, bumper stickers, whatever. But Andrew, are you an Oklahoma native?
Not a native. I was born originally in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with the history of the state of Oklahoma, and if I am speaking incorrectly, please correct me. But
all right.
Back during the time, the War of 1861 to 1865, you have the Union and the Confederacy, fighting. There is from, North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina, with not so much now, but there used to be a large population of the Cherokee Nation. The Trail of Tears, I believe, ended in Oklahoma. And that was a genocide that was perpetrated by the Union Army, not the Confederacy. In fact, the Confederacy enlisted the tribal nations and also people of Jewish descent, because Jewish people at that time were discriminated against in the Union, but in the Confederacy, everyone was welcome. People, when you try to tell them that, they just lose their minds, that you're lying to them. They don't want to hear that. And it gets really frustrating trying to educate people about what really happened as opposed to what they were taught in school, because they don't want their belief system shaken up. And it's really frustrating to try to talk to people about that. But there were more, the Union, they weren't saints. Abe Lincoln was not this great emancipator saint that everyone thinks he was. There's a lot of atrocities committed by, the armies that he was commander-in-chief against the tribal nations. Ask what's left of the Lakotas or any of the Plains tribes, what happened to their ancestors at the hands of the Union armies. And it wasn't pretty. It's something, a lot of people compare, the Confederate flag to the Nazi flag. I don't think so. The Confederacy didn't commit genocide. The Union committed genocide against the tribal nations. And I get really angry when people, make that comparison. There is no comparison. I'm not saying that all Southerners are saints, but, what really happened and what people were taught are 2 entirely different things.
And they say it's in the history books, and I always say, if you're the winner, wouldn't you make the other side look bad as possible?
Yeah, the victor
That's a good point. Oh, Andrew, that's a really good good point. So Andrew, with all this controversy that's happened, I think since your rally, I mean, they want to dig up, graves of Confederate soldiers. They want to remove statues. They took the flag down off of a Capitol in South Carolina, as you know. The Confederate merchandise has been banned by just about every, retailer, it seems, out there, including Amazon.
And
I believe eBay. What do you think is really behind this? Because the Confederate flag has been around for over a century and a half. So, what do you think is really behind this push? Because it really wasn't because of the South Carolina shooting. I mean, I believe that there's so much more to it. I was wondering what your thoughts were.
With like all the banning and stuff at the corporation started after the shooting. Again, I think right or wrong, they will always conform to the status quo of America, of what's going on at the time. Because I think Walmart's statement says, "In no way do we want to offend nobody." And again, I think it's a publicity thing on that side for the corporations. But I as far as it going far beyond the shootings, I'd never really noticed any tensions about that flag up until then. Never had any of these. I've personally experienced any of these problems before, up until the shooting in South Carolina.
It's kind of scary, isn't it? How much mass propaganda that's programmed can have an effect on an entire society, and what else are they capable of doing?
Again, it's ask the question again. Sorry.
No, you're doing great. You so very well spoken. You've got great ideas. But what they're saying is that this propaganda, this mass propaganda that they did across the country, the programming, it worked.
Yeah, and then you got people that feeds the fumes like Al Sharpton, and that it gets people on edge and gets people fired up. Where you see like what happened in Ferguson, what happened in Baltimore. All it takes is for a few people to feed that fire before it turns into a huge war. And the media has a huge role in all of that, what they capitalize and what they choose to show and how they choose to report it. And again, they mostly want the negative. They want the excitement. They don't want because again, if all they did is tell the truth, how boring would that be?
Right, exactly. Speaking of Ferguson and Sharpton, and I'm so glad you mentioned him, what do you think about the movement that everybody knows, hashtag Black Lives Matter? I'd like to know your thoughts on that movement.
All lives matter. Again, white, black, no matter what color, no matter what race, no matter what sexual orientation. Again, we're all one. And again, it's a victim's game that seems to be playing a toll over and over and over again. That it's, how do I explain that a little better? It's sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Do you think that they're using the Black community to further some type of an agenda?
I think it's it's kind of like playing a victim's game where it's not realizing the actual real problems of the matter. Again, when you look at I don't really know how to answer that question correctly.
There is no correct. It's whatever your thoughts are. There's no right or wrong. We're just interested in what you think.
But but
no.
Oh yeah, again, it's more of a side. Yeah, I really don't. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're doing absolutely great. I like what you've been saying. And
I
these
got
are
something about that.
little tough questions. No, you're doing absolutely great. And it's refreshing to hear truth. It's refreshing to hear from someone who hasn't been brainwashed into thinking, lies and deception. And certainly, and I'll just explain to you because, I don't want to put you on the spot and ask you, but I come from the mindset, I truly believe that Martin Luther King was assassinated by our own government, or at least some associates, thereof. And I believe this happened because people in this country were uniting. He just was such a massively great leader that he was uniting people and telling people to forgive. And he's dead. And then the next thing we know, we've got Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, who were allegedly, and I say that word I'm stressing it, allegedly his friends who were with him. How was it that they didn't get shot that day? And then they go out there as the, alleged black leaders teaching the opposite.
Complete opposite
message.
of what he actually stood for.
Yes. So do you think that they were paid? Do you think they were scared into that? Because certainly our country now, under a black president, some will argue that he's Arabic, but that under this particular one, we are the most divided we've ever been.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As far as into the whole people getting paid for Martin Luther King, I don't know about that. It makes sense. And again, anytime there's the government seeks to control and to keep control. Anytime they see someone rising up, what's a good way of putting that? It's kind of like I pictured in my head.
Bringing you down. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Using a Saul Alinsky tactic.
Yeah, and what it comes to my mind is if you ever seen the Hunger Games, where when they see a leader rising up, they try to take her out during it because of the effect that it will have on the government itself. When they see people joining together, when they see people are uniting together as one, and it turns into a threat against the government at that point.
Oh, perfect. See, somebody who gets it. And you see, what they're trying to do, you absolutely nailed it. They want to enslave all of us. And I thought slavery was what especially the black community wanted to not ever endure again. But yet when you look at statistics, and they're really startling, Andrew, I don't know if you've studied them at all, but you've got the highest rate of abortion is in the black community. The highest rate of food stamps per population, not, when you break it down, per number, yeah. The black population. The highest crime, black on black. It's really sad. It's like they've the highest drug addiction, and I just really feel like the government just keeps enslaving the community, and it makes me wonder. And I do these are the thoughts I do have quite often. As I call them, the New World Order elite. Are they like Margaret Sanger, who created Planned Parenthood? Are they all racist eugenists?
No,
it's something to think. I know it is something to think about, though.
Yeah, that is something to think about. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Because certainly, and I was reading this decades before the civil rights, before. From everything I've read, what was it nice is why did people have to use different bathrooms? I mean, come on, are you serious about that? So, there were some things wrong, but what I've read was economically, blacks in this country better than they had ever done. And so it's interesting to see how the post-alleged civil rights, after they killed Martin Luther King, that the decline started to happen. And if you were a black man or woman that starts succeeding and doing well, all of a sudden there's this propaganda. I don't know if you saw it, Andrew. I watched it and I started crying. And I don't remember what city it was in. It might have been Detroit, but don't quote me on that. This high school kid was walking home, and he had made the honor roll. So what did and it was mostly, black Americans in this school, okay? Mm-hmm. So what did they do to him? They beat him up and told him not to ever get good grades again. What is that all about, Andrew?
Again,
where does that mentality come from?
I don't know, because I've never thought that way before. It's sick. You think about, you see all this violence, you see all this hate, but yet everyone says, "Oh, the hate needs to stop. The hate needs to stop." But again, it's what's a good way to put that?
It doesn't stop. It keeps being perpetrated over and over again.
It keeps getting perpetrated, and it keeps getting perpetrated. And again, even in the black community, they say, "Oh, when they white shame people for everything that's happened in the past." But when you look at the events, you see when those videos where you see 50 black guys beating up a white guy for the flag on his truck, all these I'm sorry, I'm blanking on a lot. When you see
you're doing good.
I'm not used to talking like this, but all these unwarranted attacks, and everyone and they keep saying, "Let's stop the hate, stop the hate, stop the hate." But where's the hate coming from? It's not from the people in the South. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't racist people in the South, because there's racist people everywhere. But when you look at all these unwarranted attacks, I saw on the news a man in traveling through Indiana got shot at a gas station for having a flag on his truck.
Wasn't it like a couple of days ago, there was a guy, I think it was a black guy in Mississippi, he got killed. I think somebody ran him off the road or something because he had a Confederate flag on his car.
That was Anthony Hervey was his name. It happened, I believe, in Oxford, Mississippi, or near there, around there. We had an event up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we did in remembrance of him, where Arlene Bynum, that was Barnum, Barnum, was with him as well. I was supposed to go along with her on that trip. I couldn't get off of work for it, and she agreed to go pick up Mr. Hervey from Mississippi to bring him to the event in Alabama. And on their way back, they weren't flying no flags on their vehicle. They had no bumper stick, nothing showing Confederate flag. And they had a car come up on the side of them, and they were yelling at them. And she said, Mr. Hervey's like, "Oh no," and started speeding up forward. And the car came back up on the other side and went to go swerve into them, and Mr. Hervey overcorrected, and that's when the vehicle rolled multiple times. And
wow.
Dear Lord, you know what? Praise God. Seriously, Andrew, that you couldn't get off work, because you wouldn't be on the show today. That is just something else. This is wicked. It's almost like living in a mafia-controlled country. And I did notice on your Facebook page that you had a Confederate flag in black and white with the words, "In memory of Anthony Hervey, hashtag
Yes,
Confederate Lives Matter."
yeah.
Right.
Are you seeing an increase in the movement, or are you seeing more people fearful?
I'm seeing more people joining up with us, the ones who do have an opinion but are too scared to say it. It's giving them a chance. When they see more people standing up, that it gives them the encouragement to stand up with us, along with us. Again, for our events haven't been huge here in Oklahoma, but like too huge, but they've still been 50 to 100 people coming out. And again, it's people seeing and getting encouraged to stand up for what they know is right. And
Amen.
That's what it's all about.
Amen. You know what, Andrew? It has to start somewhere. And without, you see, here's the difference. And Randy and I know this because we've been political activists, always on the right side all these years. But you have a controlled media. You have a controlled machine. Let's just face it. That's what they are. It's a controlled machine that are not going to air your views. They did it the one time. But believe you me, the only thing they're going to do is to try to smear you. And not, put out what you're doing. So you're doing it the grassroots way. And grassroots, throughout history, look, the founding fathers was grassroots. That's what can happen with grassroots starting. So I want to applaud you for what you are doing. I mean, seriously, if you were here right now, I'd be giving you a big, huge hug. I just think you are absolutely awesome, Andrew. And I want to thank you for standing up and stepping up for freedom. I mean, really, can't thank you enough. And risking, you're out there just risking really life, limb, and reputation, it seems like, based on the stories you're telling us.
Right.
So really appreciative. Randy, I know you had another question.
Yeah, well, this is from listener Paige. She wants to know what your thoughts are on this whole white privilege thing that suddenly popped up last year.
White privilege thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if I heard about it.
I love you, Andrew.
We gotta have some barbecue, Andrew.
I'm not one to really read the news, so if it don't hit national trend on Facebook, or if it doesn't pop up on Facebook, then I don't. I'm not one for reading the news, really.
Oh,
see, you're not in the. What you're saying is you're not in the wrong crowd, because what the white privilege, what Paige is referring to, is that across this country, there is a movement in the Black Lives Matter movement, and just I mean in the progressive media. Yeah, it came from academia. You're absolutely right. Passed on down, saying that white people have more privilege, and therefore it's basically that minorities need to have, and it's not even just equal rights. It's extra special rights, and that whites already have too much, and really they should feel guilty about it. They should feel bad about themselves. And that's really the, genesis of all of this. I mean, Randy, you can expand upon it. Basically what they're saying is that whites get absolutely everything. Well, apparently we're all wealthy. We're all the best educated, according to this movement. And then all we do is put down other people, that we keep everybody oppressed.
Part of that is we're all equal. Everyone deserves the same privilege. Everyone deserves to be treated the same. There ain't no race that's better than the other. Again, we're all one. Do I think that whites should feel ashamed for what happened in the history? No, because this is a different generation. You can't blame them for what happened in the past generation. This is today. We were doing so well with joining together and unifying together, and it seems like over the last month it all came to another crash. Excuse me. But again, it's what people really need to do is learn to see past color, where color don't matter, because it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter where how you were raised. It doesn't matter if you're raised on the wealthy side, if you were raised in the poverty, on the lower poverty level. Again, you're the one who sets the goals for your life, and if what you really want to do and how you really want to be, you can control that. You just got to go out there and do it. If you want it bad enough, you just got to go out there and do it.
I love what you just said. Yeah, really, seriously, amen. Andrew, what do you think we can do to overcome this propaganda and unite all Americans?
Again, people need to realize that everyone's from a different culture, and they need to respect one another as human beings. Again, you see a person from the so-called hood, and they're dressed with, let's say, baggy pants, gold chains and stuff. And what's the first thing that pops in your head? Do you think that they're instantly a thug, that they're up to no good? That's how some people are raised. That's their culture. It doesn't make them a bad person for dressing that way. What makes them a bad person is their heart and how they really are. So people need to learn to stop judging by the cover of the book, and need to learn to start judging people by their characters, and learn to understand the other culture as well. When you see a person with cowboy boots, cowboy hat, and flying a rebel flag from the back of the truck, you're automatically going to assume them as a racist, that they hate blacks. Again, you gotta judge them by their character, judge them by their character, not by the book. Again, we get so caught up in misconceptions of where we not, without even knowing that we are judging other people before and are instantly have a idea how they really are before we even get to know them, and before we even know what they really are about. We got to live and respect one another, because we're all a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that's humanity.
You know what, Andrew? It's supposed to be the interviewer who makes the interviewee have tears in her eyes. You just brought me to tears, because you're right, and you just spoke beautiful truth. And I wish everybody, and not even just in this country, but everywhere in this world, had those same thoughts. That was beautiful. Really, it was beautiful, Andrew, and it was the truth. It was the truth. Randy, I'm too choked up over here, to speak. So, I have this to say before Randy asks a question. Your parents, they raised a wonderful child. And I hope that you will thank them for me for the way you turned out, because they did a great job. They did a great job. Randy, what else do you have?
Okay, Andrew, this is like so far out in left field. It's not even in the ballpark. It's across the street in the parking lot. But I've been to Oklahoma a couple of times, and a family trip. There was a place off of I-40. It was a truck stop called the Trading Post. Is it still there?
Do you remember what town it was in Oklahoma City?
Not really. I mean, it was, I was a kid, so I'm just thinking Oklahoma City. So I was thinking that, there's stuff, but it's somewhere on I-40 in that vicinity. It was like a truck stop and gift shop, and trading post.
I know there's a big truck stop, and I think it's called the Cherokee Trading Post. I don't know where that is at. I don't remember where that's at. Where they sell all natural bison burgers and all this stuff, and they have a gift shop.
That's the place. This is funny. A funny story. When I was like 14, we went on a family trip in the RV across the country. In fact, and I believe it was a Cherokee Trading Post. We stopped there, and my cousin, and I was like 14. My cousin, he was like maybe 9. We're getting out of the RV, and he's digging through a suitcase with this really stressed out look on his face, and my uncle asked him, he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I saw what we had in there I wanted, and I'm trying to find something to trade for it," because he thought that you actually traded stuff for stuff in there. It was hilarious.
That's a good story.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. It was 35 years ago, and I still remember that.
That is funny. Andrew, what else do you have upcoming? Any other events?
Me and Arlene Barnum are headed to Mississippi on this weekend for Anthony Hervey's funeral. So this time we'll be making it to Mississippi. Again, we're gonna group up with some people for safety reasons, and his funeral is on August 2nd, which will be this Sunday at 2 p.m.
Hey, that's the day of my birthday. So, please let everybody there know that the Wake Up Mission Show sends their regards, and we are totally in support of the cause, and we appreciate everything that you are all doing. It's really, I think that the only way that we're going to unite and get our country back is by the grassroots efforts of you and your friends and associates. So we really cannot thank you enough. Randy, any other questions, any other listener questions before we thank Andrew for being here today?
No, I don't think there's any more listeners' questions. All I got is, Andrew, it's been an honor to speak with you and to get to know you. I sent you a friend's request, too. Dude, be careful. Always watch your back, and please come back and see us again. This was a great hour. I wish we had more time. Just be careful, dude, and watch your back, and also just a word of advice from somebody that's been doing political stuff for a long time. Be careful who you associate yourself with. That's all I got, man. Just Godspeed, and please give our regards to that man's family, and be safe and take care of yourself, and come back and see us.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Andrew Duncomb. Hey, do you have a website that people, or any way they can contact you if they want to get involved?
I just got the Facebook page, Andrew Black Rebel Duncomb, and my last name is spelled D-U-N as in Nancy, C-O-M as in Mary, B as in Bravo.
Absolutely. Well, and bravo. And bravo. That's a great way to end. Bravo to you. Thank you very much, Andrew, for being on our show today.
All righty. Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure.
It was ours,
Thank
too.
you.
All right. Wow. Randy, he literally had me in tears with what he said. It was beautiful. Yeah. And I hope we can get back to that sentiment in our country. Very needed. And, hey, maybe Andrew can be our next Martin Luther King. Who knows? All right.
Only to a ripe old age.